everyone, I am Maria Cristine Schaefer of HUMSS 12 and I am in charge of showing an exhibit regarding creative writing. So, as a HUMSS student, we are often exposed to different kinds of essay writing and the likes. That's why it is really necessary to have a knowledge regarding writing different literary pieces. So, as we previously took the creative writing subject, we realized its benefits. As we learn to clarify our thoughts and emotions more efficiently and accurately through creative writing, we will also communicate more effectively, which is a skill that is exceedingly important in all areas of life. Practicing creative writing is about a lot more than just improving your grammar, spelling, and vocabulary. It will also allow you to develop your own unique voice and share your experience and perspective without limitation, expressing how you feel about the words inside and outside of your head. So when you engage in creative writing, you're stimulating your imagination and thinking outside the box, which teaches you to think more innovatively and push boundaries. So those are all valuable skills. So as we move on, I have here some artifacts that showcases the importance and some knowledge in creative writing. I have here lots of books, but we will be focusing on two books that I'll be discussing today. So, first is this really thick dictionary that I found at home. So, as we can see, its structure, it looks really old, but it seems to be still sturdy. So, I used to browse this dictionary before when I was in grade school and when online dictionaries aren't yet available. So, based on its cover, this is the American College Dictionary, and it was first published in 1947 by Random House in New York. So Random House is an American book publisher and one of the largest general interest paperback publisher in the world. So the American College Dictionary was edited by Clarence Barnhart based on the 1927 New Century Dictionary. So as we open the dictionary, the first few things that we would see are its etymology and pronunciation keys that would serve as a guide and help the readers for easy browsing. The first page contains its title and also its editor and also its publishing house. At the back of it, it would says manufactured in United States of America. It has its contents. For its second page, its general introduction. They also did not forget to put the editorial advisory committee, which is included on the third page. So the names of every advisors, editors, and even the consultants in anatomy, botany, geography, or for every fields of topics that are included in this dictionary are here. So take note that these consultants were professor, experts on their respective fields. So it really assures that all information written in this dictionary is right, accurate, and credible. The next few pages, it is not just a simple dictionary because some lessons in English were also written. It explained few things such as importance of pronunciation, treatment of etymology, synonyms, antonyms, and also dialect distributions. So the remaining pages, with a total of around 1,500 pages, were intended for the words, its meanings, list of colleges and universities in America, proofreaders' marks, and even notes about weights, measurement, the metric system, and foreign alphabets. So now, are dictionaries really important in creative writing? So the answer is yes. Actually, not just in creative writing, but also in our overall studies. So these days, we live in the digital world where our autocorrect is both our best friend and our enemy. So we type a word and our device often predicts what we are trying to write before we finish our thought. So sometimes it chooses a better word they intended or predicts a completely unrelated word that we have to correct. Writing reports and completing homework is much easier because of this modern technology. We can always count on spell check to catch our mistakes, highlights, and misspellings, correct grammars, and develop sentence structure. Advancement of technology is helpful, but with which we are getting our words on the page and having our mistakes automatically changed isn't challenging us to comprehend what we are saying. So, and why is it being corrected? So this is one of the biggest reasons why teaching dictionary skills and encouraging future generations to look up unfamiliar words definition is a must. Learning to use the dictionary promotes lifelong learning habits. It teaches us students the basics for using a thesaurus, encyclopedia, periodical, writing style guide, recipe book, and more. Flipping through a paper-filled dictionary helps us students acquire a broader vocabulary, learn the correct spelling of words, understand pronunciation, and improve reading comprehension. So the dictionary encourages us to analyze different meanings of an unknown word with example sentences and understand which one makes the most sense in their context. Even though the educational process continues to evolve with the advancement of technology, it is important that we don't miss steps of the learning process. Teaching students to take control of their learning and understand how to effectively use a dictionary will always be important in their educational journey. So, for the next exhibit, I will be showing again another old hardbound book. As you can see on its name, A Study of the Types of Literature. So, it is a revised edition by Mabel Irene Rich. It says here, copyright 1937 and was published by the Appleton Century Company in New York. As you can see here in its contents, it contains different types of poetry such as narrative, lyric, and dramatic poetry, plus some works from different writers. So one of my favorite poetry from this book is the lyric poetry entitled The Earl King, which is included in page 175. The Earl King was written in 1782 by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. I used to perform this lyric poetry when I was 7 years old on a contest. The poem is based on a Germanic legend of a malevolent elf who hunts the Black Forest, luring children to destruction. It was translated into English by Sir Walter Scott and set to music in a famous song by Franz Schubert. The Earl King revolves on a story of a father and son that are journeying homeward on a horseback at night. The son was ill and with a fever, and he believes that he sees and hears the Earl King. The father tells him that the form he sees is only the fog, and the sound he hears is only the rustling leaves. Nonetheless, the Earl King wheedles, trying to tempt the boy to come with him. But when the boy again expresses his fear, the Earl King says that if the boy does not come of his own accord, he will be taken forcibly. The father, feeling his son's fear, spurs his horse on, but when they arrive home, the boy is dead. So that poem, The Earl King, is one of several of Grutas' early works expressing the poet's conviction that the power of nature are filled with unconscious elements capable of overwhelming humans. So, this kind of poetry and works really proves that creative writing is really interesting and fun to learn. If we continue using these kinds of dictionaries, analyzing, learning, reading, and even creating literary pieces would be easy for us. Plus, it would also help us to improve our comprehension levels. Plus, it would make more room for our creativity and critical thinking skills. So, that sums up our exhibit for this subject, creative writing. I hope you learned and had fun today. Thank you for your time and interest.
Alcarioto, and I'm here to share with you the Anne Frank's diary in relation to my children's subject, creative nonfiction, and my museum to help me visualize. During the World War II, Anne Frank was a young Jewish girl. This is Anne Frank, who wrote a diary where her family was hiding from the Nazis. in Secretan. This is their house here in the middle, and this is the place where they hide in Amsterdam for 2 years before being discovered and deported to concentration camps. In 1945, Anne died in the Belgian Belsen concentration camp. Frank's father was the last survivor of the family. This is her family hiding from the Nazis, and they chose to publish Anne's diary, which details her thoughts, feelings, and experiences in hiding. For decades, it has been an international bestseller and a staple of Holocaust teaching programs. And this one is example of Holocaust. Legacy is honored by a number of humanitarian groups. Anne was extremely a talented girl, expressing her observations, feelings, and reflections, fears, hopes, and dreams in her diary, said Anne-Marie Becker of the Anne Frank House in Amsterdam. Her words resonate with the people all around the world. Until the autumn of 1933, the Franks were progressive Jews who resided in religiously varied fringes of Frankfurt. For several years, anti-Semitism had been on increase in the Germany. The Franks moved into the Amsterdam when the Nazi Party, led by Adolf Hitler, assumed control in the country of January 1933. Anne wrote in her diary about the move, "Because we're Jewish, my father immigrated to Holland in 1933, where he became a managing director of the Dutch Pecta company with manufacturing products used in making jams." Other people or other important people in the story are in her diary. Franks enjoyed the freedom and acceptance they found in Anne attended Amsterdam 6 Montessori School, where she was a bright and enthusiastic student, with many friends of various backgrounds and faiths. According to Anne Frank, the biography by Melissa Muller, Picador 2014, Otto Frank founded a food ingredient wholesale company in Amsterdam. In May 1940, the Nazis invaded Amsterdam and the Franks were put on the edge again. Jews had to wear a yellow star, and this is the patch that they used to wear of David and observe a strict curfew. They were forbidden from owning businesses of his company to Christian associate, but run it behind the scenes. Anne and Margot had to transfer from a segregated Jewish school according to Mule and Anne wrote. After May 1940, the good times were few and far between. First, there was a war, and then the capitulation, and then the arrival of the Germans, which when the trouble started for the Jews. On Anne's 13th birthday, June 12, 1942, Otto presented her a red-white checkered notepad that she had chosen from a nearby shop. And this is the first notepad that she wrote. Anne chose to keep a diary in it. Her first entry reads, "I hope I'll be able to confide everything to you, as I have never been able to confide in anyone, and hope that you will be able to great source of comfort and support." When Anna grew up, she wanted to be a professional journalist. When she was in hiding, she kept multiple of notebooks. And this is the actual picture of her writings. And according to the Anne Frank's house, her first and famous notebook was the red checkered notepad, but when that ran out of her room, she moved on to others. Throughout her tenure at the secret annex, Anne kept a meticulous records. She wrote, "The nicest part of being able to write down all of my thoughts, feelings, and observations. Otherwise, I'd be absolutely suffocated." Many of Anne's letters were addressed to Kitty, a character from a C.Z. Van Marxveld series of a Girl Explorer books. Anne liked the character because she was a lively, humorous, and cunning. According to Becker, while Anne wrote intensively about her thoughts, feelings, relations, and personal experiences, that had nothing to do with the Holocaust or the Franks situation. Anne had a crush on Peter and occasionally disagreed with Margot. According to her diary, she almost felt that her mother didn't understand her. Anne and Fritz prefer share the room, which was awkward for the both of them. Anne occasionally wrote about her problems. Larissa Kleber, program's manager of the Jewish Women's Archive, said that the personal feature of her writing is a part of its appeal. For a 13-year-old girl, she was a very extremely thoughtful, intelligent, and well-spoken. She writes about her complicated relationship with her mother, challenges as she hits puberty in hiding her feelings from Peter, Kleber told Lifestyle. Despite everything going on in the world around her, what she was going through as a developing teenager takes part as a precedence in many parts of her diary. It is a forefront of her mind and it makes statement no matter what is going on. These are things that are important. Anne's diary reveals an insightful, confident, and direct young woman hoping to become a famous writer. She wrote, "I can't imagine having life like this. Like mother, Miss Van, Gus, and all the women who go about their work and then forget them. I need to have something besides a husband and children to devote myself to. I don't want to have lived in a vein like most people." This perspective has helped make Anne a role model for girls, said Kleber. She was very honest in her writing. She was writing for a wider audience, and the image she put out was often someone sure of herself. She is a good role model for how to present herself while writing and write for change. She talked very intimately about teenage things, and I think that's very important too. It was a very radical act. It was something women were discouraged from doing. She emphasizes that things do matter. Anne was also wrote about missing nature, Jewish ethics, and her views on humanity. Excuse me. Famous passage is such a reflection. Anne wrote, "I believe in spite of everything that people are truly good at heart." Anne's last diary entry was made in August 1, 1924. Anne's descriptions of the time in hiding in the secret annex, her powers of observation and self-reflection, her fears, hopes, and dreams still make a deep impression on readers worldwide. Becker told Live Science, throughout Anne's diary, people began to learn about the War and Second World War and the Holocaust, and they read about how we'd be able to be excluded and persecuted. After all these years, Anne's diary was still contemporary relevance. People often focus solely on the humanitarian themes of Anne's diary, but it is a mistake to ignore other parts, said Kleber. She was a positive and tried to see the good in things, but in a lot of ways that she was to a teenager, trying to deal with being a teenage girl. But extremely, Kleber said that I think that's really is so powerful and interesting about her story. It interacts with so many people's experiences. Once again, I'm Jamaica Alcarioto, and I hope you learned something today. Thanks, viewers.
Warm greetings, viewers. I am Zaina Z, and today I will share my knowledge about the Philippine government and its branches. But first, I will show you the details of my museum. The Philippines is a presidential republic with an equal distribution of authority across its three branches: executive, legislative, and judicial. Through the system of checks and balances, the government aims to act in the best interest of its population. People have sovereignty and all government authority comes from them. The idea of separation of powers, which states that legislation belongs to Congress, implementation to the executive, and resolution of legal disputes to the judiciary. Legislative. The legislative branch is authorized to make laws, alter and repeal them through the power vested in the Philippine Congress. This institution is divided into the Senate and the House of Representatives. The legislative branch enacts legislation, confirms or rejects presidential appointments, and has the authority to declare war. The Senate is composed of 24 senators who were elected at large by qualified voters of the Philippines. The House of Representatives is composed of about 250 members elected from legislative districts in the provinces, cities, and municipalities, and representatives elected through a party-list system of registered national, regional, and sectoral parties or organizations. The party-list representatives shall constitute 20% of the total number of representatives, including those under the party list. For 3 consecutive terms, after the ratification of this Constitution, 1/2 of the seats allocated to party-list representatives shall be filled as provided by law. The executive branch is composed of the President and the Vice President, who are elected by direct popular vote. The Constitution grants the President authority to appoint his cabinet. These departments form a large portion of the country's bureaucracy. The executive branch carries out and enforces law. The President leads the country. He or she is the head of state, leader of the national government, and commander-in-chief of all armed forces in the Philippines. The President serves a 6-year term and cannot be re-elected. The Vice President supports the President. If the President is unable to serve, the Vice President becomes President. He or she also serves a 6-year term. Cabinet members serve as advisors to the President. They include the Vice President and the heads of executive departments. Cabinet members are nominated by the President and must be appointed and confirmed by the Commissions of Appointments. Next part is judicial. The judicial branch holds the power to settle controversies involving rights that are legally demandable and enforceable. This branch determines whether or not there has been a grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction on the part and instrumentality of the government. It is made up of a Supreme Court and lower courts. The judicial branch interprets the meaning of laws, applies laws to individual cases, and decides if laws violate the Constitution. The judicial branch and power shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such lower courts as may be established by law. To sum it all up, the Philippine government system revolves around 3 separate and sovereign yet interdependent branches: the legislative branch, the lawmaking body; the executive branch, the law enforcing body; and the judicial branch, the law interpreting body. For me, this topic is one of the most interesting lessons in Philippine politics and governance, and it has been a great pleasure and honor to share my knowledge to all of you. Let's keep in mind that it is our right to be aware and educated about our government and how it works as we are a citizen in this country. Let's take pride in being a Filipino and always stand up with the truth and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Hey viewers, this is Catherine Barron speaking. I will be introducing some knowledge about world religions and beliefs, and today I will be focusing on Shintoism. First, we have here some artifacts related to Shintoism. its native religious ideas and practices. The term Shinto, which means the path of kami, in Japanese was established to identify indigenous Japanese belief from Buddhism, which arrived in Japan in 16th century CE. Shinto has no founder, no sacred writings, and no established doctrines, but its guiding idea have lasted and had nearly 2.8 million followers. The main belief in Shinto is the worship of kami, which are spirits that inhabit the natural world, from landscape and forces of nature to people and animals, both living and dead. All objects are believed to have kami. Kami, unlike the Western concept of gods, are not omnipotent nor perfect. They, like humans, sometimes make mistakes and misbehave. The goal is for humanity to strive towards exemplifying qualities of good kami. In Japan, Shintoism and Buddhism have become intertwined after centuries of coexistence. However, Shinto is considered a syncretic religion, differs from Buddhism, which has a clearer doctrines and beliefs. Shinto is also more ambiguous than Buddhism and doesn't have any religious text or set of doctrines. Whereas Buddhism has a clearer origin, Shinto predates any historical records, and it is not known who or where it originated from. Buddhism and Shinto also have different beliefs about afterlife. Buddhism believes in a cycle of death and rebirth that continues until a person achieves an enlightened state. Shinto, however, believes that after death, a person kami passes onto underworld and watches over their descendants. The overriding belief in Shinto is to promote harmony and purity in all aspects of life. Humans are thought of as being fundamentally good, and evil is caused by evil spirits. The purpose of Shinto, therefore, is to pray and offer to the kami to keep away evil spirits. The followers believes in 5 core values of Shinto. Number 1, purity, which refers to kagare or physical and energy uncleanliness, and these are addressed through rituals of purification. Number 2, makoto. Makoto refers to sincerity of heart. If goodness and sincerity are not in your heart, all acts are pointless. Number 3, harmony with nature. Since the kami can possess anything, it is nature itself. As you can find kami everywhere, it is important to keep places clean and being aware of the environment. Number 4, matsuri. Matsuri, Shinto festival, bind a community together and bring a good fortune to it. Number 5, focus on here, now. Shinto is strictly focused on the present and is a celebration of what we know and have right now. Now, I will be showing you here the artifacts and the stories behind it.
The first one will be gohei. Gohei, onbe, or heisuko are wooden one decorated with 2 sides used in Shinto rituals. The streamers are usually white, although they can be also gold, silver, or mixture of several colors, and are often attached as decoration to straw ropes used to mark a sacred presence. The shrine priest or attendants use the gohei to bless, sanctify a person or object in various Shinto rituals. The gohei used for some ceremonies, but its usual purpose is to cleanse a sacred place in temples and to cleanse, bless, or exorcise any object that is thought to have negative energy. In addition to its use in purification rituals, it may be included in an onusa and serve as the object of veneration in a Shinto ritual. The next one was Jinja or Shinto shrine. In Shinto religion of Japan, the place where the spirit of a deity is enshrined or to which it is summoned. Historically, jinja were located in places of great natural beauty. In modern times, however, urban shrines have become common, though they may vary from large complexes of buildings to small obscure roadside places or prayer. They generally consist of 3 units. First, the honden, also called shinden. The main sanctuary where the spirit of deity is enshrined, normally approached only by the priest. Second is the Hayden or Hall of Offerings or Norito Den. The halls for reciting prayers where religious rites are performed by the priest. Here are offered the prayers which call down the and subsequently send it away. And the third is the hall of worship or also called as Hayden, where the devotees worship and offers prayers. Large shrines may have additional structures such as Kagura Den, which is a stage for ceremonial dance, Shamusho or shrine office, Temizuya, ablution basin from washing hands and mouth before worshipping, and also no Kamainu, the statues of guardian animals, and Toru, or the stone or bronze lanterns given as offerings. The sacred compound is demarcated by an entrance gateway or torii. And last but not the least, we have here is Torii, a symbolic gateway marking the entrance to the sacred presence of Shinto shrine in Japan. The Torii, which has many variations, characteristically consists of two cylindrical vertical posts topped by crosswise rectangular beam extending beyond the post on either side and a second crosswise beam a short distance below the first. The torii, often painted bright red, demarcates about the boundary between the sacred space of the shrine and ordinary space. Torii also identify other sacred spots such as mountain or rock. Some authorities relate the torii to the Indian gateway arc, the Torana, which reached Japan with the spread of Buddhism. Others connect the torii with a traditional gate in Manchuria and elsewhere in China.
To sum it up, every religion is really fun to discuss. We got to know different culture and their materials being used on worshiping. Shintoism is a really nice lesson in introducing world religions and belief, or IWRB. Again, this is Catherine Baron and I hope you've learned something today.
Hello everyone, I am Royce Vincent Lungca, your tour guide for this exhibit in Disciplines and Ideas in Social Sciences, or DISS. First, I would like to explain what is the subject all about. The disciplines within the social sciences includes anthropology, economics, geography, history, linguistics, political science, psychology, sociology, and demography. But today, we will be focusing on sociocultural anthropology, investigate the variety of human cultures across time and geography, seeking for similarities. It takes a comprehensive approach to understand modern concern, connecting local and global, past and present. Sociocultural anthropologists study the humanities when they investigate realms as far-reaching as expressive culture. Once music, performance, material arts, text, architecture, film, and other semiotic media. Even their religious practices and movements, moral values, ethics, and human rights. History, heritage, and memory practices. How the past has made and is recollected in the past. Knowledge formations and the construction of multiple realities through practices involving entities as various as the dead, deities, non-human life forms and things, consumption and tourism and nature, biomedicine and other sciences and technologies. I have some artifacts here that would highlight the art of India, showing their culture from the past and also in the present. Indian art consists of a variety of art forms, including painting, sculpture, pottery, and textile arts such as woven silk. Geography. It spans the entire Indian subcontinent, including what is now India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and at times Eastern Afghanistan. A strong sense of design is characteristic of Indian art and can be observed in its modern. Some of the world's major religions such as Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam either began or flourished in India. Much in Indian art is based in religious or political subject matter. Here we uncover the history of Indian folk paintings, architecture, and sculpture and explain how each evolved from socio-political influences reflective of the period from which they originated. India have different art styles today, but archaeologists discovered evidence that prehistoric rock art, carvings, or drawings on cave rocks in this area dating back at least 2,900 years. The oldest examples are the Bhimbetka petro, petroglyphs found in central India. The earliest known Indian art sculptures were produced by the Indus Valley Civilization between 2500 BC and 1800 BC. They created small terracotta and bronze figures that also represented humans and animals such as cows and monkeys. In the 6th century BC, the rise of Buddhism paved way to religious themed art, often in the form of stone and bronze sculptures. Each religion of India offered its own distinctive style of art. Religious motifs are some of the most common subject matter, often featuring mythological human and animal forms as well as elaborate ornamentation. The three most prevalent art forms to span India's history are painting, architecture, and sculpture. For the first one, painting, each style of painting that emerged in India represented traditions, customs, and ideologies passed down from previous generations. The early paintings existed on the walls as murals. The art form was eventually transferred to more modern materials such as paper, canvas, cloth, and other mediums. One of the most popular Indian folk art painting styles, Madhubani paintings. This style originated in Mithila region of Bihar as a form of wall art, but wasn't widely known to the Western world until British civil servant and art historian. The Mogdani style is represented by a simple and evocative portrayal of culture and tradition, typically depicting mythological scenes. Artists juxtapose vibrant imagery with pared down patterns, often bearing floral, animal, or bird motifs. The art form is practiced in many different styles, including Barni, Kachini, Gero, Godna, and Tantric. Indians also have miniature paintings. These small works, created mostly as illustrations of manuscripts, were initially found on palm leaves, painted for merchants who carried them throughout their travels across the subcontinent in the 10th and 12th centuries. The art form became increasingly important throughout the Mughal and Rajput courts. Miniature paintings were highly detailed, intricate drawing from Persian techniques. Theme ranged from religious and historical scenes of depictions of everyday life. Another early form of painting from Patachera paintings. This style dates back to the 12th century BC near Orissa, an eastern Indian state of Bay Bengal. The small villages within the area still produce this style of painting today. Patachera literally translates to cloth picture, ap- aptly describing this traditional cloth-based type of scroll painting known for these intricate details and mythological narratives. The paintings call upon angular, bold lines and draw extensively in Mughal era influences. Warrior folk paintings is also one of the famous kind, Indian painting, a form of indigenous Indian art, date back 2,500 years. The style originated from Maharashtra, a state spanning the western part of central India, where it is widely practiced today. Typically created on the walls of huts, Warli paintings utilize linear and monochromatic hues and an elementary style of execution that resembles cave painting, contrary to the other types of tribal art which feature an abundance of color. This style utilizes earth tones and neutral shades of daily activities of local people such as farming, dancing, and hunting. Though Madhubani, Patichara, Warli, and miniature paintings are some of the most prominent styles, there are several other types of Indian folk paintings that derive from other periods and regions within subcontinent, which includes Tanjavur paintings, a South Indian painting style flourished between 16th and 18th centuries. These colorful panel paintings done on a wood plank, usually depicting a deity as primary subject matter of the composition. We also have kalamkari. This type of hand painting or block printed cotton textile is produced in the Indian states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. It was traditionally used for making narrative scrolls and panels and has strong connection to Persian motifs. Gand paintings, developed by Gandhi tribe of central India. This type of art celebrates the neutral world, depicting anything from lush greenery to animals. Paintings are created using a series of intricately arranged dots and dashes. Pad paintings. Pad paintings date back thousands of years as a religious form of scroll painting that depicts battlefields, adventure stories, and folk deities. As we finish on exploring the kinds of Indian painting, I will be showing you some of the notable Indian paintings. Here is Shakuntala by, by Raja Ravi Varman that was painted 1870. Shakuntala is an important character of Mahabharata, one of the two major Sanskrit epic poems of ancient India. We also have Bharat Mata, painted by Abindarat Tagore in 1905. Tagore's painting is a great and historical value as it depicts a woman dressed like a sadvi, or as a notorious woman in sacred saffron sari, holding a book, sheaves of paddy, white cloth, and garland in her four hands. Anthropology covered a really wide range of study as this studies people and understanding them in different aspects in cultural and biological way. But at least with the short exhibit showing some arts of India, we got to see and understand a glimpse of people, their culture and past. Again, this is Royce Vincent Lungca, hoping that you've learned something today.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Ysabel Grutas, and I'm here to present my artwork in relation to my chosen subject, trends, network, and critical thinking in the 21st century. And as you can see, the different color represent the economies of countries around the world that portrays globalization, while the various lines and shape is global network that can be seen in distinctive fields and disciplines. And the two person in the painting, which minds are connected, illustrates relationship that exist and operate beyond territorial borders of a particular country. The global is an entity reaches or beyond territorial borders of a particular, thus it destroys cultural barriers that separates region and places. While network, a set unit like nerves, species, individual, institution, or state, with a particular rule which determine the degree or direction of relation or ties that exist between or among social entities. Global network is a set of units manifesting certain ties or relationships that exist and operate beyond territorial borders of a particular country. There are three characteristics of a global network. 1. Global network across border and to connect more than one country, which is member often located in different places or always moving. The borders being referred to here and not only material but symbolic boundaries as well. 2. Movement across the boundary is long-term. A network's movement boundary is not yet considered a global network if it not only occurred during a short period of time. 3. Global networks are not confined with a particular. The members of a global network are often located in different places or sometimes they are always moving. Types of global network. 1. Technical global network.
a global network adapted from telecommunication system that utilize a variety of satellite, cables, and wireless technology. 2. Interpersonal global network, a forum of global network that includes cross-border groups such as migrant, aid, or social workers involved in advocacy work, even a professional discussing and debating new idea and discoveries. These two are the major type of global network. 3. Advocacy network. Actor or activists share particular values, common discourse, and thence exchange information and service and work on a particular issue. Number 4. Business trading and commercial networks. Transnational economic and business network. Number 5. Friendship networks. Looks into social communication pattern, interpersonal bonding, and social support. Number 6. Information network. Global network where communication is primary function. And number 7. Knowledge or intellectual networks give importance to the transmission of knowledge and its connection with policy development. Number 8. Migrant networks deals with migrants who left their countries and settled in new territories. Number 9. A set of relatively stable relations that are non-hierarchical and independent in natures that link in variety of actors who have common interests with regard to a particular policy and exchange resources to pursue these shared interests. 10. Professional networks deal with the promotion of the professional's mental and academic interests to support sociability and friendship. Number 11. Religious network. Religious practice by immigrants and their respective network. Number 12. Terrorist networks engage on terrorist and organized crime to fund and sustain their activity. And lastly, number 13. Women's network. Work with men and women connect by advocacy and friendship. I chose this subject because of its wide capacity and the knowledge that it offers, which can help us understand the world we are living in. I hope that I am able to share what I know to all of you with the help of my artwork. Thanks!